direction, sets the stage to turn the page. At the raising of the curtain, I am hurting and uncertain of the parts that we have played. Why must the show go on? I can't say these lines again. Why must the show go on? Must I sing this song again? Fading out of the close-up, everybody's reeling, no concealing. Your beauty is seed stealing. Violins are singing, sunsets waiting, radiating. Your entrance is breathtaking. Why must the show go on? I can't say these lines again. Why must the show go on? Must I sing this song again?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Four Wall Sunday Roundtable, episode 48. My name is Drew Quinones. Thank you so much for joining us today. Looks like I came from a luau or something, but nope, I'm at home in Vegas. I am joined once again by my co-host, Jeff Kreuter. Jeff.
Hey, a luau with a four-wall factory in the background.
Yep, that's so true.
Actually, it sounds like the non-virtual vendor showcase, the old-fashioned vendor showcase.
Yep, that is true.
We're all allowed to be in the same room together.
Yeah, next year we'll be back.
That's right. We'll have a luau again. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 48. Drew, 48. Can you believe it?
Nope.
How many guests have we had? We've had like 100 and something.
It's pretty coming close to 200. So
yeah, wow. Amazing.
It's pretty amazing that we're going to keep it going as long as we can, for sure.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for watching as always. And speaking of keeping it going, I wanted to say that we're actually going to scale back a little bit for the summer. We're going to do like a summer hours and do, we're not going to do weekly episodes. We'll do 1 or 2 a month, and we'll be sure to let everyone know ahead of time what we're doing and when we're doing it. I think the next one now is going to be 2 weeks from, going to air for the first air 2 weeks from now. And then of course be available forever and ever and ever, as long as there is an internet.
Yep. And I will say, putting the panels together early on, it was easy. It was a little easier because people, they had the time. So it's been, it's been good to see the transition into, hey, I'm actually not available because I'm working. So it's like a good thing. We want to have you on, but hey, we're proud.
That's right. It's nice that people are busy. Really. Yes. It's about time. Let's see. Before we get going, last time we spoke on this program, Drew, you were as the episode was ending, you were racing off to go to a hockey game.
Yep.
How was it? You were in a packed room with maskless people, 20,000 of your maskless friends.
Yeah, so when I went on Sunday, that was kind of my first time, 1, on the strip again, and 2, in a full arena since it's been over a year, or almost a year and a half. So it was interesting. I kind of kept to myself a little bit. But I went to another game on Thursday, same area, and I was just like high-fiving everybody because it was just like, it was back to normal pretty much. So yeah, it was good to see. You could just tell everybody, like I've said when I watch live events on TV, everybody's pretty locked in. So yeah, I can't wait for all all forms of entertainment to be fully open, because I think it's going to be an incredible experience for everybody. You know, I can't imagine, you know, you being behind the console for that first that first show. I think it's going to be something that everybody's going to take in for sure.
I can't wait. New York is definitely getting there, but not quite as quickly as you guys in Vegas. So
hey, we had to, or else this city was going to completely fall.
I feel like we have to too, soon enough. Soon, very soon. Hopefully there's going to be another big announcement July 1st here in New York. Fingers crossed. But we have a great show again, some great guests tonight. I think, Drew, let's bring them on in. Cool.
Well, we have going to kind of split the panels up today. So I'm going to bring in our first panelist, Ellen Lampert-Greaux. I think I said that right, Ellen.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Next is lighting and projection designer and a judge of the Pat
MacKay.
MacKay. MacKay Diversity in Design Scholarship.
I'm so mad at myself right now. MacKay.
Roma Flowers. Hey, Roma.
Hi.
And next is, I didn't have my notes. Lighting and sound designer and former award recipient and judge, Nina Field. Hey, Nina.
Hello. Nice to see everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for coming. Ellen, we're just going to jump right in and start with you. Before we talk a little bit about the Pat MacKay Scholarship, can you, Ellen, everyone, I feel like so many people in this industry know you as the creative director of Live Design and from LDI. Can you give us a little history with the magazine for you? When did you start working with them, and what's the brief, Ellen, history with Live Design and LDI?
Brief, in a nutshell, I was an at Pam Broadway press agent, and I was working at the Brooklyn Academy of Music and the Williamstown Theater Festival in the late 1970s, early 80s. And Pat MacKay, as the editor of Theater Crafts, was one of my walk up to me and asked me for my press tickets at various events. And she and her wonderful late husband, Ralph Pine, and we became very, very close friends. And in 1983, when I announced I was going to France to the Avignon Festival, she was like, oh my God, you should interview some French designers and start writing for us in Theater Crafts magazine. So in the summer of 1983, I submitted my first freelance article to her magazine, and it stuck. And someplace later along the way, a few years later, she bought Lighting Dimensions, which was a lighting magazine, obviously, and reformatted that beautiful new design. And some of the companies that were just getting started in those days, it was Claypaky and Coamar out of Italy. There was High End Systems and Verilight out of Texas. And they were saying, Pat, you should really do a trade show. This industry does not have an event. And lo and behold, LDI was born in 1988. And I sort of got dragged back kicking and screaming from France, where I was living at the time, editing a magazine for Pat that was called Q International, which we then folded into Theater Crafts. And here I am 32 years later, still doing conference programming and a lot of writing and a lot of other creative stuff for the now totally digital Live Design and LDI.
And we are all looking forward to LDI.
Absolutely. Vegas.
They can't wait to go.
Absolutely.
And Roma, aside from being the unofficial chair of judges for the Pat MacKay Scholarship, you were a lighting designer and a projection designer and a professor. How did it start for you, and what made you say, I want to be a lighting designer and then I want to be a teacher?
Well, it came a little late for me. I know a lot of kids start in high school doing theater, and for me it was really much later. I took a lighting design course in college. I was a religion major, and I ended up taking a gap year in Santa Fe, and I joined the local community theater, really just hoping to meet people. And the lighting design bug bit me really hard in that year. And by the end of the year, when I was ready to go back to school, changed my major to lighting design, and I've been doing that ever since then. You asked me, Jeff, when did I decide I wanted to teach? It took me a long while, actually. It took me about 20 years after working professionally. And wow. I really wanted to feel that I had the clarity and the experience with the art itself, and that I had even recognized my own aesthetic design happening, and that I could actually articulate it and share it and actually do something valuable for students rather than just give a series of lectures or assignments. I really wanted to think that I could tell them something special about that sprung from my experience that would be
Sure.
really, really valuable. So it took me a while to get up to it. Yeah.
How long have you been teaching now?
I've been teaching 15 years now.
Wow, amazing. Cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. A lot
Surprised
of people are, yeah, I know it happens. I'm sure it all happens so fast. So many people have been bitten by that bug that you were talking about, that lighting, or I guess in Nina's case, sound bug, but I guess you have to be bitten by that bug.
Yeah, and Nina, you're going to be on our panel a little later, so we'll definitely take a deep dive into your career in just a few minutes. In the meantime, just tell us what you do and your relationship to the scholarship.
Yeah, so currently I'm working as a sound designer, and I work in production, specifically audio video as much as possible, and we can go into that more later. And I was one of the inaugural recipients of the MacKay Scholarship, and you know, I happened to see the posting for it, applied, and here I am.
Amazing. Well, glad you're here. Glad you got it, and glad you're here with us too.
Yeah.
All these things.
And Ellen, can you tell us a little bit about the history of the scholarship and what it is and how did it begin?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Pat MacKay herself, you know, as a woman who broke a lot of glass ceilings as a publisher of a theater magazine, as the starter of a trade show, you know, in a sort of men's rock and roll world, has been a mentor and a friend to a lot of women in this industry, and has always been a champion of all kinds of diversity, inclusion, and equity on all fronts. And a few years ago, when we decided to co-produce the Night of Illumination Awards at LDI, a few interesting things happened. One was that Clifton Taylor, who is also a great champion of diversity, and has also started teaching at the North Carolina University School of the Arts, felt that the Night of Illumination Award should have some sort of a charitable aspect to them. And we were also talking to designers like Clint Ramos, who's very much on, you know, the forefront of promoting diversity in the industry. And those two things sort of came together. And while we don't own the Night of Illumination Awards, they're sort of produced in collaboration with a UK organization at LDI. These scholarships came to be strictly as a Live Design and LDI initiative, and we decided to reach out to the Theatrical Sound Designers and Composers Association. And as Roma is sort of the unofficial chair on the lighting and projection side, Lindsay Jones is sort of the unofficial chair on the sound side, and really took this under his wing. They are a hugely active organization, very much on the diversity bandwagon as well. And we reached out to USITT for their expertise in the student market. They have huge, you know, inroads there, obviously, and they're very good administrators, and they administer the financial side of this in partnership with us. So it's really sort of a little triumvirate of people running this, and thanks to both of them, to David Grindle and to Lindsay,
yeah,
and to Roma and the other judges for taking such an active role.
Yeah. So Roma, can you tell us about the process of choosing lighting and projection designers, along with anything else you'd like to add about the scholarship?
Sure. Every individual judge will go through looking at all of the materials that the applicants submit. We do that individually, and we have our own sort of rating system for that. For me, I think the strength of a candidate will depend on multiple factors. I can only really speak what I see and how I approach it. What I really love to hear about is the clarity of their goals and their dreams, and how much do they actually indicate their passion for design, where they see themselves or their future selves in the artistic community. That means a lot to me. Also, of course, for all of us, we love to see a strong portfolio. Whether these are projects that have been produced or hypothetical designs or designs they've done in class or on their own. We really like to see that work and just to get some idea of how their creative minds are working. And it doesn't necessarily have to even be lighting or projection designs that they're showing, but any other kind of artistic projects, drawings, graphics, paintings, sculpture for some of them. It's been really interesting to see how these young designers are beginning to think. I personally love to see paperwork and documentation. I think that gives an idea of how organized that design mind is working. And it can also show a very strong level of organization, which is important for any designer.
Sure.
Then we come back together again and we just compare notes. We never have enough money for all of the ones that we truly want to give a scholarship to. So we just kind of do the best we can with our candidates. Anything else I want to add about it is, I think I can speak for all of the judges in saying that we really appreciate being a part of this ability, this opportunity to support young artists that are coming from underrepresented groups in our profession. That's really dear to our hearts. I want one more extra note. I really do, and we all do kind of mention how we love seeing those applicants who maybe didn't get a scholarship one year return the next year, and we see that growth in them again, and it just warms our heart. We feel like maybe we gave them a little bit more of a push there. Maybe we helped them just a little bit there. So we love it.
Great.
If I can interject for 1 second, we also interviewed the lighting and projection candidates on Zoom this year and last year. The first year we did not, and we found out that the sound people were doing telephone interviews. So we thought we'd go one step further and do Zooms. We really like seeing the people, and we felt that seeing people who represent their community, and you sort of a sense of relief in a way, it's like, oh, I want to meet these people. And Roma and the other judges have been extraordinarily generous in saying, yeah, we'll give you our email addresses, consider us, contacts, stay in touch with us. And I think Nina can correct me if I'm wrong, but the sound people still did telephone interviews, not to be biased by seeing the people.
Correct.
But I don't think it really biased us in a way. As Roma said, it's really the passion and the clarity that comes through.
Cool. Great. And Nina, what is the process of choosing sound design winners?
It's very similar to how lighting and projection decided their winners. We first received the applicants' submissions and their information. So we had all of that to go through as individuals. We picked our top group, our top 5, for who Lindsay and Melanie were going to go interview next. So once we did that, gave that information to Lindsay, they interviewed the top 5 finalists. And from there, we all listened to their interviews and came together as a group to decide on who will ultimately win the scholarship. And it's sad because you want to give all the finalists the money, but again, we didn't have enough money. And what TSDCA does is all of the finalists, they do receive a supporting membership within the organization and are highly encouraged to come and interact and get that mentorship within the organization. And I can say firsthand that there's a lot of support there for audio professionals. So that's, even if they didn't win, they still get something out of it.
Yeah.
And I hope they can really push forward for that. And the last thing to add is every judge is different, but similarly, for me, was looking at the portfolio, the interview, and the essay. One of the conversations we had to do with sort of systemic problems that can happen from people getting their applications in, such as, their recommendation had issues or didn't come in. And so we really tried as a group to think about those elements, but at the end of the day, it's picking It's just hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It
is.
I can see.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I really can't. I can't pick what socks I want to wear. I wouldn't. I'm kidding. I can. Thank you all so much for the explanation. There's one thing. This is a scholarship for school. It's not a postgraduate. It's to be put towards education. Is that right?
Yes, it's undergraduate. And one of our original thoughts was that it would be a $5,000 scholarship for a rising freshman. But the number of high school seniors who have applied and been accepted to a design program that apply are few and far between. So
Sure.
The first 2 years we had 6 winners. This year we have 7 who were just announced on the Live Design website on Friday. And I can give a quick list of those if you have a minute. We'll give all of the shortlisters, and I think this year even all of the applicants, we offer them a conference pass to come to LDI, and we do what we can financially to bring the 6 or 7 winners. And in 2019, I think they were all there and did a diversity panel, which was really very interesting. So they got to sort of voice. Were you there that year, Nina? Did you?
Yes, I was.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yes, please. Before you go, please. Who are the winners this year?
Nina, do you want to announce the 2 sound winners?
I was not ready, so I don't have.
Well, it's Mia, and is it Tebow?
Yes, it's Tebow.
Yeah, Mia Tebow and Michael Tellez are the 2 sound designers. One is a sophomore and one will be a senior. And then on the lighting and projection side, it's Taylor Gordon, Noelani Montas, Cameron Banks, Malia McCall, and Mikhail Noel Serrano, who are between, there's one that's a sophomore,
Yes.
2 juniors, a senior, and a final semester senior. So it's a real interesting group of people, and we hope that they all succeed in their design career and stay part of our world forever.
I know, and someday they'll be on our 4-Wall Sunday Roundtable.
Exactly.
All of them. Yeah, awesome. I look forward to meeting all of them, and congratulations.
Congrats.
Yeah, amazing news. Ellen and Roma, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ellen. Thank you,
Roma,
Roma.
you're going to have to come back on our show next time we have educators
I
or
hope
lighting
so.
designers or projection designers. We'll figure out which one. Come back sometime soon. Ellen, this is your second time, but you're always welcome to come back anytime.
Thank you.
All right. Bye,
Nina,
Ellen.
stay
Bye,
right
Roma.
where you are.
Thank
Thanks.
Great. Well, let's bring in our 2 other panelists, projection designer and former award recipient, Sydney Dye. Hey, Sydney.
Hi,
Thank you so much for joining us.
glad to be here.
And another former award recipient and lighting designer, Yuko Taniguchi. Hey, Yuko.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today.
Did I get it?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. It's always a nice way to
There
start.
should be a money line on if I'm going to.
If you're going to get the names right.
Yeah.
You've been doing very well
Thank
so
you.
far.
I practice.
We're going to dive right in. Let's stick with Nina since she's been on here for a little while. You were all recipients of the Pat MacKay Scholarship and all recent graduates, I think, as well. Nina, when did you receive the scholarship? When did you graduate, and what was your major?
I received a scholarship in 2019 as a rising senior, and I graduated in 2020. And I concentrated in lighting and sound design.
What school? I should have asked that also.
SUNY Purchase.
Oh,
Design
right.
Tech program.
I actually knew that, but for everyone else out there who didn't know that. Purchase. Yuko, how about you?
Yeah, I received my scholarship last year in 2020 as a rising senior. And I just graduated last month from UNC School of the Arts with a degree in lighting design.
Amazing. With Clifton, right? That was Clifton's first year, right?
It's the second year. Yeah.
Second year. Okay. And Sydney.
So, similar to Yuko, I received the scholarship in the summer of 2020, so this time last year, and I received it as a rising senior at Elon University, and I just graduated last month as well with a degree in theatrical design and technology and a concentration in projection design.
Amazing.
Awesome.
We can have a whole show here. We have enough
Yeah.
designers to make a show.
Sydney, we'll stick with you. What did receiving the scholarship mean to you, and has it helped you?
Yeah, absolutely. So receiving the scholarship was really special because not only were we given a little bit of money, which helped financially, especially during the pandemic, but we were joining a cohort of artists, which was really special. For, I think, Yuko and I, our year, the application, I believe, opened or at least was announced before the pandemic. So I think we were both kind of operating under the assumption that if we were to win, we would get to go to LDI and meet people in person and interact with people, which was going to be really fun. But then, of course, the pandemic hit. But it's been really cool to interact with people on social media. We're all friends on social media, seeing what they're up to. So it's just special to be a part of the community.
Awesome. And Yuko, how about you?
Yeah, so for me, I am actually an international student. So being an international student, it hasn't been the easiest for my family to afford for a study abroad experience. So any kind of financial aid means the world to us. And because of that, I was able to finish 4 years at UNCSA. But besides that, this Pat MacKay Scholarship especially is very special because it particularly helps those of us who are a part of underrepresented communities, just like Ellen and Roma mentioned earlier. And it feels really encouraging to know that there is a community out there who's very supportive and working very hard to help with this movement of getting more diversity and inclusivity in the theater industry. So
yeah, definitely. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Tokyo, Japan.
Oh, awesome. I've been to Japan twice. I love it out there.
Yeah.
There's actually, I'm totally off topic. Sorry, Jeff. But there's actually a big, I went over there for a motorcycle show, and there's like a huge, like 1960s kind of biker scene over there. It's a trip. Anyways, that was in Yokohama. I loved it out there.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Sorry.
Two-time guest on our show, Sean Beach, just called me from Tokyo 2 days ago.
So awesome. Is he doing a show out there?
He must be.
Yeah.
He must be. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry to go off topic there.
Yes,
sorry.
okay.
Nina, how about you? What did the receive the scholarship mean to you, and how has it helped you?
Well, definitely on the financial side, it helped me to finish out the degree. At the time, it was getting difficult to keep continuing, and it really came at a time when I needed that type of help. But it was also validating and encouraged me to keep pursuing the career, something to say that, I can do this. And even more important than that, I was able to connect with a larger network, go to LDI, meet the other recipients. I'm also friends with them on Facebook, and really connect with TSDCA, which has by far been one of the most important aspects for me of the scholarship, was connecting with that organization.
I was not actually familiar with that organization. I mean, I'm a lighting designer, not a sound designer, but it sounds like they do an awful lot. And everyone knows how much I like Lindsay Jones. So, great guy. We should have him on the show.
Yeah.
All right. So, Yuko, let's go to you next. So to truly understate the obvious here, you've all completed your education in a very difficult time.
Yeah.
And now, so we've had on the show several educators discussing what it was like to teach during the pandemic and how they were adapting. What was it like to be a student, and in Nina's case, to graduate in the middle of this craziness?
Yeah, so I feel very fortunate to have worked on productions in person the past year at school. And I'm very, very grateful for all of the opportunities that I was able to receive, despite the challenges that came with the pandemic. And through those productions, I think one of the most valuable things that I will forever remember is how to light for the camera. And I think that's something that everyone else had to learn how to adapt. And it's been such an eye-opening experience trying to take what we already know from lighting for a live audience, and to take that knowledge to light for the camera for a virtual audience. So that has been a very valuable experience for me. And I think in a way, I feel very lucky that I was still in school during this strange, difficult time, because I got to learn something that, probably wouldn't have been in the curriculum if the pandemic wasn't still happening. So
that's a great point. Do you think it's going to stay in the curriculum?
I think so. Yeah, I think Clifton is a huge believer that, lighting for the camera this whole, shows being produced online is going to be there for quite a long time. And so I think it'll be a really good lesson to learn for everyone.
And why not? I mean, there's so much lighting in the live entertainment in the TV world. Aside from theater, aside from like theater being shot to stream, there's, so many opportunities out there. Nina, how about you?
Not to sugar, it was hard. My lighting senior project opened March 12th, that weekend. And so we were in Tech Week. At the start of Tech Week, everything was gonna still be fine and we were continuing as normal. And by the end of the week, we were told that we were gonna be moving to remote and the dorms were closing and everyone had to leave campus. So that was hard, that was difficult. And credit to all my professors, like Dave Grill, you've been here before, I know, that really tried to make the best of a bad situation. I learned a lot about television lighting. I learned about doing things virtually. On the sound set, I learned how to how to route accurately for Zoom calls, for virtual theater, as a result of the experience. So it was difficult at the time, and I just wasn't sure that I was going to be able to have a career as a result of the pandemic. But as it turned out, and I feel like a broken record, like having already had the connections with TSCCA and doing, they started doing a lot of programming over the course of the pandemic and hangouts and really trying to keep the community going. And that was something that was really important to me. So we're almost there, but almost the other side of it, really.
Almost there.
Coming with a network and a community that I am now a part of.
Yeah, that's pretty special. And Sydney?
Yeah, I mean, it was really hard for obvious reasons, but something that I think a silver lining that came out of it was that we, as students, really got to see firsthand how adaptability and innovation in theater works, not only within an educational setting, but within a professional setting as well, and just kind of the industry as a whole. And I think something that's taught so much in, theater design education is problem solving. You have to be able to think on your feet. And this last year was really a crash course on problem solving. How do we have shows when we can't, be together and congregate together? So for me personally, from really the month after we were initially sent home, I started reworking my thesis that I've been working on for 2.5 years, taking a full-length play that was just supposed to premiere in person, but reworking it to a play that was completely performed via pre-visualization software. So if nothing else, this last year was weird but special in a way where I got to explore things that I don't think I ever would have had the opportunity to explore if we weren't forced to problem solve and really kind of rethink how we do things during this time.
That's great. Yeah. I think, Drew, you asked this question and didn't really get an answer of teachers. Are teachers using previs software to teach lighting?
Yeah.
And no one really answered it, but it's nice to know that someone was actually doing it.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah.
And Sydney, we'll stick with you. What kept you motivated over this last 1.5 years, and what's getting you excited and motivated as the industry starts to restart? Sydney, sorry.
Yeah, what motivates me is really knowing that there's a lot of people have been working on a lot of things throughout this last year, and that when we're able to really start working on stuff again, we're going to be able to come together and work as a community. And there's going to be, I think, so many new and exciting projects. And I think I hope the industry really kind of embraces these new ideas and new projects that have developed throughout this last year. And I think that's something that's exciting and motivating.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say too, hearing your answers, because we've had a ton of teachers on. So to hear your answers, it's actually it's an interesting perspective. So I'm super happy we're doing this.
Yeah. And an affirmation in a little bit too. I mean, it's nice that what the teachers were saying is actually being translated to the people that they're teaching.
Yep, definitely. Yuko, how about you? What kept you motivated? And what are you excited about?
Yeah, for me, I think it's a combination of me working on my own productions, and collaboration is always a great thing, and the challenges that comes with each show, but also being able to see past works that are lit by professional designers, now that everything is being streamed online, I think the fact that I don't have to physically travel to the theater to see someone's work, I think that's something that I would definitely, value a lot during these times. And what I'm excited about, I'm definitely looking forward to being able to use my to start applying the things that I learned over the past 4 years in college and use that in my professional career, and to continue learning and growing and take on any challenges.
Oh, that's awesome. And Nina, how about you?
I'm excited to see what comes next. Especially considering all of the conversations about equity within the industry, with how do we move forward after the pandemic, with the explosion of digital and virtual theater and entertainment. I'm really just excited to see what's next, and that motivates me. I want to be a part of it, and I find it thrilling.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for almost 30 years, and I'm excited to see what's next. So, that's what sort of gets me going too. Speaking of gets me going, let's keep going. Nina, let's stick with you. What is next? So you've been out of school for a little bit. So what's your current career step? What are you up to? And also, what do you want to do? As we're able to knock on these doors, what are the doors you want to knock on as a designer?
So, of course, I want to design.
Not everyone does. I mean, that's, a lot of people, there are lots of things you can do with a design degree. So not everybody does want to design. So it's nice to hear that also.
True. And currently I mentioned this before, I do a lot of audio video production work. And so I've been doing, that sort of thing. And I find that I enjoy it. I also discovered through working on digital work, I associated Lindsay Jones, in fact, for some radio plays that came out a couple months ago, and looking forward to the future, seeing more digital work. And that's kind of what's next, is I'm doing more digital work. I'm gonna be designing a show that will be live streamed, so thinking about that. And
cool.
It's starting to come together. It hasn't fully coalesced yet, as everything's still trying to open up, but that's what I'm hoping for. Just
cool.
To keep designing, keep working.
Yeah, me too. Sydney, how about you?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to have a job in theater this summer. I'll be a video design intern at the Muni, and I'm very excited about that.
Cool.
Yeah. But after that's all done, I'm thinking that I'll probably be moving to New York City, and really just trying to learn everything I can. Hopefully getting some work as an assistant or a content creator for a projection designer, a video designer, and really kind of working in that field.
Great. And Yuko?
Yeah, so currently I am actually working as an intern for an architectural lighting firm called Lampert Lighting Design. And yeah, it's been such an incredible experience learning that side of the lighting world. It's so different. And after that, I am very much looking forward to moving to New York, just like Sydney, and hoping to find assistant work. I think there's so much value in being an assistant, and I just want to keep learning and growing from them and being involved in the artistic process and observing how they work. So
I think that's a great way to start. I think assisting is a good way to go. I mean, it's not the only way to go, but it's, it puts you in a room with some, you can just watch and learn and watch someone else make a mistake.
And then learn from that.
And learn from that and say, you know what, I wouldn't have said that, but they did. Awesome. You know what I also love about this panel? Everyone's concise. You are all all of you, you're saying such smart things and quickly, which leads us to
our favorite part of the show.
Jeff's Roundtable Rapid Fire.
Alrighty, here
favorite part of the pandemic.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not, maybe, I don't know if there could be such a thing.
And we're going to start off with Sydney.
Sydney, what is something you recently watched on TV or streamed that inspired you in any way, socially, artistically, anything?
Yeah, on Netflix, there's a great series called The Abstract Art of Design. And my favorite episode is a tie between the Ez Devlin episode, the theatrical set designer, and the typography episode.
Oh yeah, that's a good show. We try to get Ez on. She's a little too big for us.
We did actually. We did. Yuko.
For me, it's any recorded performances, of dance performances that have been, put online by professional dance companies.
Nina.
Lighthouse, I saw it on streaming, and I just enjoy watching William Dafoe, but also just like the combination of the normal and the mythic.
Man, I need to watch that.
I love that. Yeah, I haven't seen that. So
it's with Robert Pattinson. It's really good, or the trailer looks good at least.
Well, now I'm going to watch it. Nina, best advice given to you by anyone?
Kathy Perkins, go where you're loved.
Great. Yuko.
Pat Johnston, who I met over at Hemsley a couple months ago, he said, be undeterred. Pushing your boundaries should not feel comfortable.
Pat Johnston with a quote on the roundtable. Pat, I hope someone tells you that you've been conjured. I love Pat. He's an old friend of mine. Nice to hear his name, and that's great advice. Sydney.
An amazing professor at Elon University, where I graduated from, named Kim Shively, said, "Don't be afraid to take up space."
All great advice. I hope people are listening and can heed all of it. Sydney, what does what does your video chat setup look like behind the scenes? What's your sound light? What do you have? You have a great light flare background. What do you do to make yourself look and sound good on Zoom?
Honestly, it's not very exciting. I have a couple of books currently stacked up for my laptop. I think right now I have a ACT review book, 2 ACT review books, which is very exciting.
Good use of that.
Yeah. And then a light in front of me and some top light as well.
Yuko, what's the secret to looking good on camera?
Similar to Sydney, a couple books below my laptop, bounce light and some backlight.
Backlight, yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, Nina.
Suggestion for tip.
Excuse me.
We have this Audio Technica 2020 mic. Got some I/O, a Scarlett I/O, a Razer Keto camera, dual screens. But the most important parts is this desk lamp that I use as a bounce light, and also this window that is also used as a backlight.
Thank you for all for answering such a very strange question. I even got to it and I was like, am I going to ask this? But no, I'm glad, it's good. People, it's so hard to do this sort of thing. I mean, at this point, a year and a half in, maybe it's less hard, but at first we were all so bad at it. Okay. Nina, favorite artist of any kind, painter, writer, musician. What's your favorite these days?
Frida Kahlo.
Oh, cool.
Longtime favorite.
Yeah. Yuko.
Olafur Eliasson.
Nina. Sorry, that was Nina. Sydney.
No, that was Yuko.
That was Yuko. I know.
For me, this changes all the time, but right now, Lisa Jewell, who is an author.
Did you just finish reading something?
I sure did. I did. She has a great book called The Family Upstairs that is a mystery and is fantastic. She's a mystery writer. Very,
cool.
Very talented.
Amazing. Sydney, what are you looking forward to? Anything at all?
Yeah, I think in terms in theater, working with the community of artists again and kind of getting back into that just community space of bouncing ideas off each other and all the fun that comes with live theater.
Yep, and collaboration and things. Yuko.
Just the reopening of the industry.
Yeah. Nina, what are you looking forward to?
Also the reopening of the industry, but also traveling. I love to travel and would like to do that again safely.
Yeah. We've reached the end of our rapid fire. You guys are great.
I know. I can't believe we're going to this is the fastest show, so. No,
I appreciate it. Anything you want to add since we've got through it so quickly in the rapid section? Any other thoughts? You can change your mind. Yeah. All right. Moving on.
Cool. So I have been part of a team that Four Wall assembled to help Roadies of Color United, shout out Rock You, rebuild and promote their website that is comprised of a diverse group of professionals in the entertainment services, concert, touring, It's basically a place where hiring managers can go and read bios and look over resumes to hire more BIPOC folks to get on more gigs. Does anything like this in theater exist, or like social media groups or anything? And are you participating in any? And if not, do you think that's something that would be helpful? Nina, we'll go to you.
Yeah, there are a few, and I can't name them all off the top of my head, but
Okay.
the first that really pop up is there's La Gente, which is the Latinx advocacy group for theater.
Okay.
And they're about to launch their websites, and I participate in some of their meetings. I haven't been as involved as maybe I would like to. There's also Design Action that they've also been working in the background doing work. There's We See White American Theater. There's on the other side, there's Sound Girls that really is trying to.
Oh yeah, Sound Girls.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked with them a few times.
Yeah, and they're more touring
and
production, but they also do a lot with theater.
Okay.
The group that I'm the most active in is TSCCA. And
Good.
Hello. Yeah.
As you should be.
Yeah.
And I've been working with them to try and make a more equitable space. So that's where a lot of my energy is.
Great.
Awesome. And Yuko, how about you?
Yeah, in addition to Design Action, I know there is Sea Lighting Foundation, which focuses on helping immigrant theater artists.
Okay.
And then there's also Women in Lighting, which I think is a very cool group. It's women from all over the world who are in the lighting field, and they do panels and discussions and all that, and awards, and so.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Sydney?
Yeah, a lot were just mentioned, but three more that come to mind are, there's a great Facebook page called Artists Against Racism Network, and that's a group that resources are shared, such as jobs or grants, but also a place where people can ask questions and connect. Similar to that, there's USITT Women in Theater Network. Similar concept, people post jobs, people post grants, resources. A lot of students post survey questions to participate in surveys. And then lastly, there's a really great page called End Unpaid Internships, or I think the full name is Lift the Curtain End Unpaid Internships, which is promoting kind of a more equitable internship in early career spaces. So people can report but talk about theater companies where they have unpaid internships, and share companies where internships are really great and are paying an equitable and livable wage.
So like Rate Your Professor internship.
Yes, exactly.
But now, Drew, the Rock U is that a list? Is it an actual list of like a hiring list, or is it just an availability? How does that work? The Rose for Color.
Yeah, we're kind of rebuilding it a little bit. So it's going to be somewhere where if it's going to kind of be like a bio. So, you can go in there and reach out to them. So it's almost like just a one-stop shop for lighting designers, sound designers, and the hiring manager can actually just read up and what tours they've worked on, their experience level. So that's kind of what it is.
I think that's Jorge Arroyo has been working on something similar for Latinx and Latina Network. I think that's what he's doing as well. And I haven't seen that yet, but I know that's coming out soon. I mean, it might be out already actually, but
and it's just cool that we're able to kind of help those folks out, because I know once they get back to work, since we're a marketing team, we'll always be able to kind of help them out with it, so they can just not have to worry about it. Because I think that's kind of, if you want to start a website, but then it's really, really hard to upkeep it if you're not, constantly making changes. So the fact that Wes, who's our CEO, kind of let us jumped on board and brought in a team has been really nice. So it's been good to help.
Cool. It's great.
Yeah. Wow, this is going fast. My wife's when I go downstairs, she's gonna say, "What are you doing down here?" So I'm from an ag city in Central California, Salinas, California. If you ever had Fresh Express salad, it was probably from Salinas. It's 65% Hispanic and has a population of about 150K. I know I'm just one person, but my experience going to public school my entire life, is that the theater program is pretty much non-existent. How do you think we can introduce future generations to theater so they want to pursue it as a career, as you are? And where do you think that starts? Nina?
Yeah, I also come from someplace that's largely Hispanic. I live in the Bronx. I'm from the Bronx, and I had a similar experience. Didn't do a lot of theater in high school. If I did theater, it was on stage. We didn't have like a production group or do anything backstage. I didn't really get into it.
Yeah, it was like the cafeteria lights or something.
Yeah, something like that. I think the custodian built the set, something like that. But I didn't get into it till even after I went to college the first time. So I think for me, we should look at having some way that maybe is outside of the educational system for people to get into theater, and I think also have a way for people who maybe, so to speak, missed the chance early on and want to get into it maybe later in life, like they figure out in their mid-20s, like, oh, this is what I want to do. I think there should be a way that's easier to do it than having to do school all over again. But and those are my first couple thoughts, but it really is, it's really hard and expensive for people to just sort of see if they might like it and try it. And so there needs to be a way to, like an apprenticeship just for people to be introduced.
Yeah. And Yuko, I mean, you can speak on how kind of it works in Japan, or what are your feelings?
Yeah, for me, I apologize in advance if I'm being too naive on this matter, but if the schools are able to afford, I think it begins from like middle school and high school, where if they could, give equal attention and resources to the arts as they would to other extracurricular activities like sports or any other academic clubs. I think it starts from there, and not just performing arts, not just highlighting those who are on stage, but also, introducing the teenagers to the world of backstage theater and technical theater. I think, and letting them know that career opportunities in this exist. I think that's one way to start.
Yeah, that is not naive. So that has to be said over and over and over and over again. So
Sydney, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's very, I think, very challenging. As someone who didn't start doing theater really until college, it definitely is kind of hard to jump in. And luckily I was in that academic setting where jumping in was something that was encouraged. But I mean, really, once you get past college, it's very tricky. But I think from a young age, and I was actually just talking to people about this a couple of days ago, with the pandemic, there's a lot more resources and a lot more free resources that can be used to really expose people to theater. You don't have to go sit in an audience. You can watch, Hamilton on Disney Plus. So I think there's a lot more resources that can be introduced to children at a younger age to develop that love of theater, both for acting, for technicians, for design, and introduce them that way. And then, I think there's a whole slew of things we could do in the industry to encourage people that are older to join or, experiment with it. But it's definitely very, very tricky.
Yeah, because you have to love it. I mean, time and time again, you have all said it, and guests on our show say it, and everyone I speak to, you this isn't an industry you get into unless you really fall in love with it. So you have to get people to fall in love with it, because we do. I mean, like, we all have. So, the more the merrier. And all it just takes is spreading the word, and people like us telling other people and saying how important it is every chance you get. He says. All right, we've done 47 previous episodes, and we close every episode by asking a version of our panelists to give advice to the next generation, some version of that question. You are the next generation. What do you want to say to the people who give advice? Nina, let's start with you.
I would say be honest. I think a lot of times people want to give advice that's they think will be helpful and encouraging, but I think being honest about the experience of theater would be helpful to someone coming in because it prepares you more. But I also think even adding to that, really encouraging, like there are people doing work to try and make it better, and you can join them to help make it better.
Yeah, great. Sydney.
I think keep giving advice. Some of the most rewarding conversations I've had are from projection designers that have taken the time to answer my questions and to give advice about just things they've come across in the industry. And that's been so helpful. So I think that's what I would say is just keep being open to questions and keep giving advice.
And Yuko.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your continuous mentorship and guidance. I personally am very excited to receive these advice, not just through emails and Zoom calls, now that we're slowly starting to open up, but to have these conversations in person as well after the pandemic. And
yeah, keep asking. And I know that people who have been doing this for a long time love to talk about it, so they'll keep talking. And especially, as we keep saying, as we've said over and over again, now it's still a good time to get people on the Zoom or on the phone. And, go visit tech and, have coffee with people. Everybody likes to have a coffee or a tea or a little drink or something like that. And, just keep at it. That's what I would say to anyone who's doing this. Don't go anywhere. As long as you show up, there'll be a place. We come to the end of our show.
Yeah, and we had a comment from Al Crawford. Yuko is amazing.
Oh, there you go.
Huge fan. So thank you, Al. He was actually on episode 1.
yes.
We were on episode 1. And we have to have Al back on, and you're all amazing as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
And thank you so much for doing this. Thanks for coming on.
Let me bring back in Ellen and Roma.
Let's bring Ellen and Roma back in to say goodbye. Thanks, Ellen and Roma, as well. Ellen, did you want to add something?
I do. I'd like to say that I think one thing that, if I can put words in Roma's mouth as well, seeing these incredibly talented, well-spoken women who are coming up in our industry. About 90% of the applications for those scholarships have been from women who are not only battling the LGBTQ and BIPOC diversity challenges, but also the women and sexual harassment and sexism, stuff that we all faced as young women. So it's sort of a double-barreled challenge for a lot of people. And these women have obviously succeeded and are well on their way to being successful professionals. So congratulations to all of them and to all of our winners. And I hope to see you all at LDI the weekend of November 19 to 21 in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
Are they invited to LDI because they?
Yes, we're going to invite. I don't know that we can actually bring them in, but all of the past winners will be given a conference badge, and we'll see what we can do to bring a few in, especially this year's winners. Try to get them into that community feeling as well.
Amazing.
Thank you. That's very exciting.
It is really exciting.
Yeah, it's so much haze. There's so much haze in that room, but it's a fun place to be.
But there are hazeless places we could all.
There are. That's not many, but that's true. There are.
I was going to say if you haven't been to LDI, go ahead and watch our LDI special that we did a few weeks ago, and you can learn all the ins and outs of going to that conference. So
I think they mostly talked about where they want to drink since
that's
circle
true.
bar closed.
Yeah, that's true.
No, that was good, and from 4 people who go every year. Roma, is there anything else you wanted to add before we say goodnight to everyone?
Well, for all of them, especially to Yuko and Sydney, it's so inspiring to see your passion. You showed it before, and it's still there, and it's inspiring to me. And you too as well, Nina. I'm impressed and I'm inspired. Go do it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Roma, and thank you, Ellen, and thanks everyone. To our panelists, before we say goodbye, is there anything else you'd like to add, retract, or clarify before we go? One last chance.
Nope. Not from this group.
Not from this group. Great having you. Thanks so much.
don't leave. When I end the stream, just go ahead and stick around. We're just going to do a quick recap after. Go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
Nope. I was just going to say thank you and goodbye. So you
awesome.
Can say thank you and goodbye.
Thank you. And this panel was fantastic. I will look out for everybody's names in live design. So I know there's going to be, bright things, pun intended, coming from this panel. So thank you.
You all have a friend in Four-Wall. Just call Drew. He'll hook you up.
Yeah, you need projectors or lighting. Sorry, Nina, we don't have audio.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Drew.
See you in 2 weeks.
Yep.